Okay, here we are. So we are in Cribble LogStream 2.2. I want to highlight a couple of minor things that have changed about the interface. Sources, destinations, and collectors are now under this menu under data. Right now, I am in a worker group. So I have multiple worker groups in my demo environment. I'm in the log worker group where I have my collectors defined. Same interface that we've had for a long time. I'm here looking at my routes. What I'm going to do first is we're going to go look at the new data collection feature. So under collectors, I have just one collector defined. This collector is an S3 collector type. We support also collecting data from a file system. So it's not just S3 that we support. We also support any file system. So if you can bring an NFS mount to that has, again, much more affordable storage, we can use that. We can also run collector scripts. So you can actually bring your own code. Any type of custom script that you may want to run can be called to feed data back into our collectors. This auto-populate from box here allows us, if you already have an S3 output defined, we can pre-populate all these collector settings from your existing output configurations. In this case, I'm collecting from the data collection demo bucket. This path here is a very important concept. So path here is defining our partitioning structure. And so what we want to be able to do is to easily rule out large portions of the data set so that we're not reading a bunch of files which are not interesting for our particular job. And so this partitioning structure has these bash-like variable syntax that defines, hey, this directory is the year, this directory is the month, this directory is the day, this directory is the source type, this directory is the zone, the IP. And so any of these fields that you see in this partitioning expression, I can put into my filter expression for the collection job, and we will narrow down the data set to only those directories that match that particular portion of the partitioning expression. So super powerful, somewhat of a complex concept, but very common in big data and data management. We already support these partitioning expressions on the output, so you may have seen that or run through our S3 or the affordable log storage in S3 class, where we talk a little bit more about these partitioning expressions. So if you want to learn more, would highly recommend you check out our sandbox there for affordable log storage. Defining an API key and secret, we're using MinIO in our demo environment here. If we're in AWS, you can easily use IAM credentials. You do not need to populate these. Recursive says that we want the job to go look through the entirety of the data set and recurse every directory. Down here, there's a few more notable settings. So we've got this set event breakers here. So we are telling it that we are expecting new line delimited JSON data. And that's how Cribble lays the data down by default. We can use all of our standard event breaker rules. So you could have, maybe you have just raw stack trace logs. We can build event breakers for that. It's really, event breakers are a super powerful way to take arbitrary streams of text data, extract timestamps, and figure out where that is. This has been used for the Splunk Universal Supporter support since version 1.5 or so. And this is now available actually for all of our TCP inputs and our S3 inputs, and event breakers are super powerful facility. The default here is fine for me. Here we can also run a custom command as a preprocessor, as I mentioned earlier. I can also add arbitrary fields and metadata. Here we've already added one called collection, and the value is demo collector. We now have the ability to add this metadata all across the product. So if you see them in sources and destinations, you can now add arbitrary metadata. And in my example, I'm going to go ahead and send this to routes. But if I was doing just a one-off collection job, if I select this to no, I can choose which processing pipeline I may want and which destination that I want it to route to. I don't, and I don't want a conditioning pipeline, so I'm going to go clear this off. So this job's already configured. What I want to do now is I want to run this job. So I'm going to go over here and click on run. And this populates our configuration dialog for what we want to do when we run this job. The mode, right now I have set to preview. The time ranges can be filtered, again, by that partitioning expression that we defined earlier, so I can get super prescriptive about the time ranges that I want to look at. Filter true just means match everything. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run a preview job and show you just how easy it is to go explore this data set. So as I hit run, this is going to dispatch a job, and it's going to bring me back the first 100 events that it finds into my preview window. You can see it's already done here. I now have 100 events that are available to me. We have this data is Palo Alto Networks firewall log data. You can see it's generated in CSV. We had parsed that before we ended up writing it to S3, so we actually have already this rich structure in the JSON that we had written to S3, and we have all these field names which are available to us that can be used for whatever analytical purposes that we have. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to go run a job. Let's say that I'm doing an investigation just on one particular IP address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter expression just for this particular source IP. And we're going to go validate that works. So let's do that. And then this will also factor into, we'll see how this affects the performance of these particular jobs. So I'm going to hit source IP. Now I'm going to run a preview job again, and I'm going to validate that, okay, indeed, that it is only matching this one particular source IP. So the filter expression is actually working. Next, what we'll show you kind of what the other modes are available. So discovery is, hey, I want to run the full job, but I don't want to actually output it anywhere. I just want to see how big this data set is, how many files it's going to match. And so if I go run this discovery job, I'm going to run it for everything, and we're going to go see how big this data set is. This data set is actually kind of large. So if I go look over here in my inspector, we're showing you real-time statistics about what's happening with these particular jobs. As I expand this, I can see the progress of how many tasks are being scheduled, how long this has been running, the results. You can see right now we have 3,000 approximate files. I don't actually have enough time to show you the full job in this particular case. I ran one earlier today just to see how long this was going to end up taking. And looks like I ended up canceling it before. Oh, no, that was a preview job. Looks like I ended up canceling it before, or the other job expired. So this is going to take a little while. I think there's actually about 50,000 files in this data set. And so I'm a little impatient. So I want to run a slightly faster job. I'm going to go back here to run. And this time I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which is I'm going to say, hey, I want source IP equal to this particular IP address. Whoops, I did preview instead of discovery. Let me back up. Let's run again. I'm going to run a discovery job. I'm going to say source IP for this IP address. Now, as I hit run, we will see actually in the inspector that this goes significantly faster. So this is going to rule out all the data set that is not relevant that does not match that particular IP address. And we can see when we're looking at the file names here, we're only matching file names with that particular IP address. And I don't know how many are here, but this job here that where I'm running, oh, it's already finished, right? So you can see my other job over here running against the full data set, obviously still running, still scanning files. How many do we have here? We're already up to 25,000. This only matched approximately 3,000 files. So you can see how it's easy to really rule out, large sections of the data set and get very prescriptive about the performance of that particular job. So lastly, I'm going to go ahead and run this full job, and it's going to bring all the data in that I want. And again, I'm going to run it just for this particular source IP. And as I hit run, we're going to go back into the inspector. And here inside of this full run, we can see the progress of what we're running. We show you the files that are being run. You can see in real time kind of what the statistics and of what's coming in. And I can also do things like, hey, I want to look at a live tail here. And so I can see the data that's flowing through right as that's flowing through. And again, matching to that one particular IP address. So super intuitive, very easy to come in and run these jobs. Anybody should be able to come in here. We'll show you real-time statistics graphically of how much data is moving through while the job is running, and approximate progress as the data is proceeding. And so this should be accessible to any persona inside of your organization and make it really easy to go explore that archive, bring the data back, make it easy to deliver the data where you would like. So that's data collection. I want to show off a few more features. I already showed you the live tail, but I'll show it to you in a slightly different way. So as we look in monitoring, if I'm looking at a particular source, let's say that I go look at my Splunk Universal Forwarder source. Now in distributed mode, we can show you a few different things. We can show you live status of each individual endpoint. So if you have a number of different workers, we can show you the status of each worker, and before you had to navigate to the worker node to get this type of information. I can also show you live data as the data is flowing through. So as new events come in, I don't know how many are coming in. There we go. We're getting a live result of what's coming through the pipeline. So all around troubleshootability, understanding of what's happening in the environment. We want to make a centralized experience that's easy for anybody to come in and easily troubleshoot what's going on. In the same way, if you're asking for help from us, we now have a easy to use diagnostic bundle uploading service. So here, if you put it, you need a case number, so please be in contact with our support department. They will give you a case number. Now, getting support from us is as easy as clicking to add a diag bundle, putting in the case number, and that will upload the diagnostic information to us for getting help from us. Additionally, also in our monitoring tab here, exploring our internal logs is now significantly easier. So I can see all the different worker nodes that are here. I can navigate into a particular worker process. I can see exactly what their logs are in a well-structured interface. We have some easy to use drill down type of capabilities. So I can add, that type of drill down, rerun my search. Now I'll only see info level messages. So this is the first cut of our internal log search feature. It'll be improving over time. Right now I have to select each individual worker process. We'll make that better over time, but you can see kind of how we're going and what we're doing to try to make it easy for an administrator to be able to troubleshoot, their running pipeline. So also wanted to show one other thing, which is that we also have a number of new sources and destinations, and we've now, from the sources and destinations, we now provide a more browsable, easy to use at a glance view of what we have here and configured. We've added support for HTTP event collector raw. We've added support for a new TCP input that's just raw TCP. So these are constantly ever expanding, and we're trying to make it easier for you to see kind of at a glance what we support and what will work with Cribble LogStream. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start to wrap up and move into Q&A. So one thing I want to note is please check out sandbox.cribble.io. We have launched a beautiful new landing experience here. And if you want to play with this new replay technology and data collection technology, it's just as simple as coming here and standing up your, entering your email address, and there's a 30-minute course which will walk you through in detail how to use the feature that I just demoed here in the webinar. So please go check out the sandbox. This also comes with a certification certificate at the end. So we highly encourage you to go learn about this new feature, how it may work for you, or if you're a partner for your potential prospects. And then lastly, if you have any questions, please do check out our community Slack. If you're not already on there, this is the best way to get a hold of Cribble teammates and resources. So just come to cribble.io/community, pop in your email address there, join our Slack. We'd love to talk to you. If you have any questions, we can answer them there.